that something is what we were discussing last time, being aware, right? I think that most of the people find that to be the hardest practice because awareness, being able to draw and just gonna pin myself so you guys can see the big screen. Okay. So one of the major ways people get confused within the session, within their own practice even, is drawing and then writing at the same time. Okay. So I would like to bring some more clarity as to why we're doing this. Remember the practice of awareness where we write down our body, our emotions, and our thoughts process, right? And in order for you guys to understand, I'm going to bring something called, I will share with you this. I will post it in the group like I usually do, the lesson plan, just so you guys are understanding and aware of what's happening. But do you guys, can all of you see this table that I have where it's a thoughts, body sensations, feelings, and what I see? Can all of you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see my share screen. Okay. So this is actually something that Pavel Piskaryov, the founder of Neurographica, has also founded. He actually has a number of various interesting practices. He doesn't just have Neurographica. Neurographica was his very first, wasn't his very first invention, but it was the very first invention that became big and popular. But he has other interesting, techniques and methods. Like there's something called the architecture of reality. There's something called the pyramid of development. And all of them are coaching tools. All of them are aimed at understanding where you are now, where do you want to go, and giving you tools, teaching you how to get resources to get from your reality to where you need to be in the future, to your goal, to let you have your quest. So this is what he developed. He says there are 4 steps, 4 ways to go from, during the awareness process. The very first thing you do, you start over here where it says number 1 now. See that? Let me see if I can expand the, so the first step we do is we start understanding, what do I see, right? When you do the awareness project, or the awareness process, I'm sorry, remember what we have over here on the paper, we actually have our own writing. Ladies, if you would like to maybe mute yourself, just so we don't have any outside noise. And then, if you want to say something, you're welcome to unmute yourself. So when you start the awareness process, it all starts first with your vision. Your vision is how it all gets started, okay? What your awareness, what happens in your mind is a reflection, is a result of what you see in your picture. So if you're drawing neural lines, right, which is what we did last time. If you start drawing neural lines, right, and those neural lines, as we talked about it, they bring a set of reactions within your body, within your mind. The first step in that is the actual vision. It's the actual image. Those images bring a certain set of like kind of reactions within our mind. I actually, I think Masha, you saw probably me practice this in the group. There is a whole practice called the metaphoric associative cards, where I use different visual imaging cards to help a person understand what is happening in their subconscious. Okay. Whenever we have an image, right? I'm going to share something with you now. Okay. I want you to be able to understand this practice. So I'm going to take you somewhere outside of Neurographica first in order for you to be able to understand what I'm talking about. Minute, please. Okay, let's say I'm showing you a picture, right? Let's say I'm showing you this picture, right? Maybe this one. Everybody can see my share screen, right? I shared the picture with you, right? So looking at this picture, each one of you and me, of course, will have our own set of associations, meaning we will have our own set of memories that will come up when I see this picture. We would have our own set of associations, like what it have to do, what does it do within our reality now, or what would it have to do within our past, or maybe something you're looking for. This is a whole set of practice called the metaphoric associative cards. Actually practice it. It's a different practice than Neurographica, but I do within my own practice, when I work with clients, when I work with my own groups, I do combine them because I feel it's enriching. But the reason I'm telling you is that that specific setting is what brings us to the awareness practice. Let's do this. Let's actually do some practice, okay? I'm going to give each one of you like a minute. I want you to just tell me, what do you think? What does it look like to you? What is happening in this picture? Let's just take a turn. Just very simple practice. There's no grading. I just want you to be aware how each person will view this picture completely different, okay? So who would like to go first, okay? Just tell me, what do you see in the picture? What do you think is happening in the picture? Anybody? You can unmute.
The girl is enjoying the snow.
Say it again, Dr. Manorama. What did you say?
The girl is enjoying the snow, maybe in the dream, because she's in the umbrella, and maybe that is the only source she has to navigate through that ice or snow, whatever. But still she wants to enjoy that. Yeah.
Excellent. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. Nancy, would you like to go next? I see you on the
Yes, I saw the girl in the umbrella, but I thought she was out on the ocean.
Okay.
And going on a journey, steering her course.
Excellent. Excellent. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Marsha, what do you think about this picture?
Okay, first of all, this my body reacted emotionally with this very bright yellow color. It's bring sunny feeling, and I seen this little girl, she's some kind of alchemist because she is riding umbrella upside down, meaning she transform all this. Rain coming down, she clearing up weather, and it's become like waves she can move on. It's not like she is drawing in all this water, but she can move on these waves.
Beautiful. Now, I want you to notice, do you notice how each one of you had a completely, like each one of you were similar to each other, but yet was a completely different understanding and explanation to what the picture represents to you, right? Did you know that? Like Dr. Manorama thought this was a snow. Nancy mentioned how she thought this was an ocean. Marsha had a very emotional reaction, and she reacted more to the colors of the picture, right?
Yeah.
And when we do the practice, which I'm going to start actually doing a series of videos on how to do this, and there is a whole practice of becoming aware, and not just becoming aware, but learning how to find resources within a picture by digging inside within your consciousness, okay? But that's going beyond the scope of Neurographic. Now that we did this practice where you became aware how each person has their own associative, like mnemonic associations with the picture, you can understand more what I'm talking about when we look at this table. First thing you do, you don't officially ask yourself, but the first thing you do when you look at your picture is you ask yourself, 1 second, you ask yourself, what do I see within this picture? And once you ask yourself within yourself, that I want to tell, maybe in the beginning you would need help, you would need reminder to ask yourself, but with time it will be completely automatic. You don't need to ask your mind to think, right? We all know that. You don't have to tell your thoughts, please think, because thoughts come automatically. It's instinctive within the human being, right? So when I look at this picture, right, when I, let's say even just two, very simple, just two neural lines, when I look at it, this will already bring a certain set of thoughts, a certain set of ideas of what this means. Let's have another round of practice. I want to make sure you guys understand this, because this is this is what Neurographica is backed up by. One thing, you can just draw. Anybody can draw, okay? You can become an artist, and that's a beautiful profession. But I would like for you to become more than just artists. I want to remember how we talked about it. Neurographica is a practical tool. And I'm going to be very pragmatic when it comes to this, okay? I can be as spiritual as you want me to be. I'm a very spiritual person. Marsha knows that. I can tell you all about God and spiritual existence and how you can achieve meditation and, all of that. But you know what? Bottom line, you paid money and you expect me to teach you how to do this within this reality, how to get from where you are now to your goal. So let's do this. Let's practice this. I'm going to ask you something. When you look at this picture of mine, very simple. What do you see? Remember, that picture was easy, right? Because those, remember we talked about it, were familiar symbols within our mind, right? We're very familiar symbols. We know what the girl is. We know what and even then, right? Some people thought the bottom was the snow, and some people thought the bottom was the ocean. Even symbols that may seem familiar to us, the same image will have different understanding within our mind. Now, looking at the picture that I have now on the screen, just take turns. What do you guys think? How can you explain this to me? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to invite you to use your imagination. What do you think this means to you? Anybody?
What does it mean, or what do we see?
That's exactly what it is. What do you see? Thank you, Nancy, well, when I tell you what it means, it's actually for you, it means what you see. You can't tell me what it means to me, right? Because you don't know what it means to me. But you definitely know what it means to you, Nancy,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
What I see, I see like complexities. Everything is tangled out. And when I start to draw, I realize that now I am afraid to make more steps to make it more tangled. And every time like I am drawing something, I feel like I am creating more tangle.
Very interesting. Thank you, Marsha. That was I want to tell you, that was a very introspective glimpse within a neurographic artist. I'm telling you, I have a number of people I know who have the same thing. I have a friend who draws with me, and every time she adds lines, she's like, I'm scared to add more lines. I said, why? She said, because then I have to go back and do all the roundings again, right? And that's a deeper
because I feel
thought.
like if every line we draw, it's not just an emptiness. We draw something in our energy field.
Right.
We do something over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Marsha. That's exactly what it is, right? And that's exactly what it means to you. Like I mentioned, my friend who thought that way, that's what the extra line means to her. That's what it means to you, Marsha, because you look at it much more introspectively. Who would like to go next? What does this picture mean to you? Very simple. Any ideas that comes to mind, ladies? Seriously, it's not a test.
I see a person actually laying on
Wow.
laying
Mm.
down, and that's his nose, and then where the line crosses, it's like something's on his forehead and maybe concerning.
Yeah,
Wow. That's
same
amazing.
here.
I did not see that, ladies. That's
Same
amazing.
here.
Yeah,
then-
Dr. Manorama, you see the same?
Yes, yes. I also could see the face with the nose, and the person is looking in up somewhere, and the star is on the forehead.
Amazing.
And
Absolutely amazing.
probably, yeah, the mouth part is inside.
Excellent.
Maybe an old lady. It appears that the face is of an old lady.
Beautiful. I
Mine
want to
was-
tell you, ladies, this is so exciting because I personally think this is very amazing that you guys think that way, that you see what you see. And guess what? You just did. You just became aware of your thoughts pattern. Some of you became aware of your emotions because some of you attached an emotional understanding to this picture, right? And if I asked you now, looking at this picture, what do you feel within your body? Just say quickly whatever comes to your mind. I
Oh.
felt my feet now, honestly. Like now that I said, I connected to my body, my feet, grounding. Mhm. What about you, ladies?
I feel hope, H-O-P-E, hope.
Hope, hope. But what is it reflected in your body? Connect to your
Okay.
body, like where?
Mine's connecting in the forehead.
Forehead. Excellent.
Yeah,
Which body part do you feel when you look at this picture?
I feel some sensation in the left part of my abdominal area.
Very interesting. Abdominal area. There you go. Very interesting. What about you, Dr. Manorama?
for me it's eyes.
Eyes. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. Okay, what we just did was just catch a glimpse of how our body is connecting to our images. Okay, and that's what we do. When we draw, what we discuss now for like 10-15 minutes, we do this much more quicker during the drawing. Because every time we add a line, our perception of the picture changes. And when we start to do the rounding, why do we specifically do this awareness practice during the rounding? Because during the rounding is where the transformation occurs. What we do is we start understanding, actually kind of fixating, bringing it to the reality that the transformation doesn't just occur on the level of the picture. Transformation occurs within our association, within our seeing of the picture. You see how I added another line? And something else has formed. And right away I start thinking, where does this reflect within my body? And I realized it's my abdomen also. There you go. I also got my abdomen, my stomach. You know what? It's at the bottom.
Lana, I'm sorry. Should we start to draw?
If you want to, you can draw with me. You're always invited to draw with me, okay? This is not the main drawing. We're gonna start the new algorithm in about 10 minutes. But
Yeah,
you always
it's better to watch and observe. Yeah.
It's up to you. Yes, that's why you will have the recording and you can draw. For now, yes, I'm not explaining any way to draw yet. I'm explaining the awareness process, right? So as soon as I see this, I start feeling a heavy sensation, not just within my abdomen, maybe even within like my uterus. You are ladies here. You will understand what I'm talking about, like the bottom of my stomach, but there's no analyzation here. I'm not analyzing anything. I'm just writing it down. Now, I look at this picture and I start thinking, what are my sensations? What are my emotions associated? And I start feeling like I have difficulty breathing, like I don't have enough air to breathe, right? And that's what I'm going to write down where it says emotions, right? Because I took a list and I put 3 words on top: body, emotion, thoughts. You can actually even put the lines down just for your organizational ways. Do this before you draw. Over here, you put abdomen. Over here, you put emotions. And you say, what are my emotions? and I feel the word would be exasperated, right? Exasperated would be when I feel like there's not enough air for me to breathe in, right? I feel like I need to breathe in deeply and there's no air. Now I look at this picture, right? And I go over in order to increase. Remember, we talked about how every time we draw, the tips of the finger actually, when I do drawing within the group setting, what I do is before we draw, um, I do a little awareness process. I do meditation. I actually teach this more in the specialist course, because in the specialist, we actually do more about practicing, you know, when you do stuff, you do neurographic with people. But I do meditation, I do the breathing exercise, I do the grounding process, connection to the body, and we connect to this four fingers, you know, this tips on the fingers that bring the fine motor skills within our practice. And every time, this is the beauty of Neurographica, I want to tell you, Pavel talks about it. Pavel is a big talker about, he's like, I love technology, and technology is what brings us together, right? We wouldn't be here if there's no technology, right? There's no way we would all be able to get together from different countries at the same time. Technology is wonderful, but there is one huge minus for the technology, and we have to be very much aware, especially when it comes to the development of children. The technology took away the ability or the practice of handwriting, right? Because, right, look at this. What is this? When you draw the neurographic, that's what I said in the beginning. If you know how to hold a pen and if you know how to write, you will be able to do this. If you write your name, right? I'm writing Lana. You see, the handwriting, the script writing is similar to the lines that we do in Neurographica. Also waves and going around, right? I mean, there's no rounding practice here, but the lines, that's what happens in Neurographica. We heavily integrate the practice of using the four tips of our fingers that bring us to the connection to our mind. And that's why when I do the awareness practice, I actually draw, because that will bring the necessary association, the connection to my mind. And then I say, what are my thoughts when I look at this picture? When I go over this line, what is the connection? And to my mind, the connection came that going on a journey, going on a path of discovery. Each one of us have their own path. And that's the beauty of neurolines. When you draw neurolines, why are they so unique? It's like as unique as a handwriting, right? Every person, nobody has the same handwriting. It may look the same, but they're completely unique. It's like a DNA. We all have our own DNAs. We all have our own, what do you call that? Fingerprinting. We all have our own handwriting. And guess what? Even if you're trying to get your neuroline to look like mine, your neuroline will be your neuroline. It's your own DNA, DNA, what do you call that? DNA started neuroline. And that's the beauty. And that's why all of this awareness process, right? I'm going to write for the thought journey, will be your own unique. That will start. This whole practice of awareness is to bring you to where are you now in your life? Remember what we do here, and where do you want to go? And the deeper question is, you're here now, right? I'm going to start drawing graphically. This is where we are now. This is our present. And then this is our future. And I'm going to ask you a very interesting and philosophical question. How do I know that my future is here? Why is my future not here? Why is this not my future? Why is my future not here? Right? And this is the interesting part about Neurographica, because Neurographica is really drawing a map of who you are, drawing a map, a partial map of your life. Only this is not, you know, how people make the trees of ancestries, you know, where they put a tree and they put everybody within their family, mother, father, grandparents, great grandparents, somebody, second aunt, third aunt, fourth uncle, cousins. That's beautiful. And that's very relevant. You know, we do this We talk about it a lot when we draw the neuro tree. I will be having the neuro tree, by the way, an open session. Keep your eyes open. I believe it will be in a month, the 3rd of January. Okay. But in the group, I post everything in the group. Be aware, just for you guys to know. But what I'm trying to say is that that's a different practice. It's wonderful to go into your past. What I'm asking you, what I'm bringing you, what I'm teaching you to do here is go into your future. So I am in the present, and this might be my future. This might be my future, right? Guess what? This also is my future. But which is the future that I would like to go to? That's what we're connecting. When we do the awareness, it's not just connecting to our body, mind, and emotions. But remember, we talked about the 4th world, and I'm going to give you the diagram of the 4 worlds now. Okay, the 4 worlds, some of you know this. I'm doing this very quickly because, yes, 5 more minutes, and I want to start doing we have 2 algorithms to cover. They're express, but there's still 2 to cover. Okay, this is the physical world. Okay, this is the emotional world. And by the way, when you I will be having an open session this Monday as well. That will be an introduction to the Neuro Miracles course. You're all welcome to join. It will talk about the miracles, but it will also talk about this 4 planes of existence. It will talk, I did advertise it as a Hanukkah course, but it's really much more than a Hanukkah. It's for everybody. It's not just tied in, it's originated. It gives me a lot of knowledge from the, Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Bible, but it also gives me understanding that everybody can enjoy. And we talk a lot about their physical world, emotional world, mental world. I discussed that there, and the spiritual world, right? Now, I know you all mentioned that you were very tired and you didn't get to do stuff. I'm going to say it again. It's your homework. Make sure you watch the Pyramid of Consciousness. It should be in the group. If it's not, let me know. I will put the link. Look at the previous units, right? I think your session, your December 2020 cohort is a unit 5. But if you look in units 1 to 4, you will definitely find that video, because that video discusses what we do when we go draw Neurographica, how we go from step of drawing this, physical act of just making lines or just even writing your name, to get through the emotional, the mental, and finally reaching the spiritual. There is no spiritual within our awareness. Why? Can you, is there a way to qualitatively, and what I mean qualitatively is like description. Can you, when I tell you, feel your body, you can do this. When I tell you, what are your emotions? Some people may have a hard time with that, but you can still do it, right? And remember, I put the emotional wheel, the wheel of emotions, for you guys to help to have more understanding of what emotions can be. If I ask you, what are your thoughts? Almost everybody can tell me. There are certain people, actually, no, I had a few people who would be like, oh, I don't know what I'm thinking. People who are easily anxious, right? Their thought pattern becomes like very ecstatic when they get anxious, when they're put on the spot. But what I'm trying to say is, 1 second. This would be better. Is this a better way to see the picture? What I'm doing now? This is better, yeah. If I ask you, what is your spirituality telling you when you look at this picture? Would any of you be really able to tell me what your spirituality tell you? Is spiritual something we can easily describe? And this is not a PhD in philosophy or theology, so there is no easy answer here, but you can read as much as you want and you will try to describe it. You can only describe spirituality within this 3 ways of description. Do you know why? Because that's the only way the spirituality is expressed within this world. We only can express it through our body, right? Let's say when we do meditation, we do certain body movements, right? And there's a lot of talk like about how yoga is a spiritual practice. People do pray. They say praying is a spiritual practice. You know, standing in a certain way is a spiritual practice, right? People doing this, you know, how this is a very popular what do you call that? The emotion symbol. You know, when you do texting and people do this, that means please or thank you. Honestly, you know what this means? This means praying, right? Some of you, some Christians, I worked in a Christian school and I know that's how one of the girl was like a little girl. She would be praying and that's how she would always make her hands like that. And you know what? There's a whole study on the hands gestures called mudras. And you know what else, Masha? You would be find it very interesting. I started learning one of the ways I found Kabbalistic teaching, doing this hands is a form of praying in the morning for Jewish people too. In Judaism, when we wake up in the morning, we say a special prayer of thanking God for bringing the soul back into our world, into my body. And I say, thank you, God. I am ready for the day. And when you say that, you bring your hands like this. And Dr. Manaram, I think you know what I'm talking about when I talk about mudras, right? The way the energy flows through our fingers, through our hand. There's a whole practice that you can read about. It's absolutely fascinating, I want to tell you. But what I wanted to say is that this is one form of expressing spirituality. Body, saying how when I do this, or spirituality to me means being happy all the time, right? That's my personal view of being a spiritual person. Spirituality to me is being happy all the time. And mentally, if we talk about it, spirituality means being aware of your thoughts, being aware of how you think, what you think, and why you think certain things. Because once you're aware, and that's where I bring you to the next step, you are actually, what I'm telling you now, you are way ahead of the basics course, okay? But once you are aware of what you think, guess what the next thing is? You can learn, you can control what you think, how you think, and why you think certain thoughts. Remember how I talked about happiness? So personal spirituality means happiness is not a goal. Happiness is not what you try to do every day. Happiness is what you are de facto, originally. You are born as a happy person. The rest is what happens to a person during the various life situations, right? When a person becomes discouraged, gets trauma, has stress. And yes, what we do here is what we do Neurographic and different other practices, like I mentioned, you know, cards, using mudras, learn to combine all of these practices to bring the happiness as a major and main state of who you are. A human being is happy. It doesn't learn to be happy. It doesn't try to be happy. It's happy as it is. And that's something we'll learn to do. Okay. And when we do the awareness practice, this is a step forward, a step toward gaining who you are over here. Who is your soul? What is your soul? Because a human being has a soul. And when I talk about knowing where to go, you know, you're in the present and should you go this future, and this future? Guess what? When you start drawing the neural lines, you will start practicing this actually Sunday with Margarita. We have a whole algorithm about it called the revealing of intention. But when you start drawing the neural lines, you know what? Your neural lines will show you where do you really need to go. And I want to tell you all this time, remember how I drew this circle first and then I added this? But the more I keep asking myself, where is the future? This circle keeps talking to me and saying, me, I'm here. So I already have that awareness within my mind where intuitively I kind of know where I need to go. You will learn how to do that too. And that's what the neural lines do. They're the expression not just of our body, emotions, and mind, but truly, when we do all of this practice, we get to this part. And that's the main point of any human existence. All people come to this world to understand why they're here. After all, I mean, not when they're kids, when they grow up, everybody gets to that point in their life where they start saying, who am I? Why am I here? What do I need to do to realize that whatever it is you came here for? Okay. And we're going to take a 2-minute break before we start drawing. Any questions so far about what I explained or what I have been trying to explain to you guys? Any questions? Any feedback?
No, I just it's some kind of feedback what I got it because like I got the idea with unlimited timeline in our life, like unlimited possibilities, but because of our conditioning, we choose only certain lines. And neural line, every time we draw it, like we draw in a road, a timeline for our future. And today we can have one future, and it's maybe limited, but when we develop, we go to another future, which is more like spiritual, more open for us.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. Thank you, Masha, for sharing that, because that's actually is an absolute, a great reflection of what I was trying to change. Yeah, that is a
Like,
part of what I was explaining. Thank you. Thank you for catching that and sharing that with us further. Appreciate it. Anybody else would like to say something? Because this is very interesting and it's very mystical and kind of confusing at the same time. But I promise you, at certain time within your life, especially when you rewatch this video to draw more, I promise you this will
and
make sense to you.
and I also see how responsible you are for every drawing. You're trying to round it every picture and finish every picture because, yeah, it's like you draw in your life. Yeah, even teaching, even it's
Thank you. Yeah.
simple.
You just brought in another important part within Neurographica is that we
Finishing.
act, yeah, we act with
It's my
ecology.
problem. Okay.
Yeah, we call this doing things ecologically. This is what I was talking about when I mentioned that this is a great course that you guys embarked on, but be aware of the fact that this is a course for self-practice only. Why? Because what I'm teaching you here, what I did actually today, I actually went way beyond the basics course. Honestly, I took you into the specialist and even other algorithms, but I kind of felt the need to do that. And I usually like to do things according to my intuition, but it's so important to know what you're doing. And in order to explain it to others, you definitely do know how to do stuff in a way where it would be what? Ecological, meaning it wouldn't just benefit you, but it would benefit everybody around you. And yes, absolutely. I actually enjoy doing the rounding process, but it's also ecological. I want to make sure whenever I explain to you, all of this lines to me is now connected to what I'm trying to teach you. So by rounding this, I'm making sure that my teaching goes over to you in a safe and harmonious way. And that's what I would like for you guys to also take up, right? So thank you.
That's why this course is very attractive because it have so many layers and deep layers, deep meaning. It's not just, basic of line drawing and how to, it's based on very, very deep knowledge of
Yeah. Thank you,
how
Masha.
word works.
Absolutely. Thank you for catching that part, because there are a lot of free videos and I do a lot of free videos. You can see that I do a lot of free sessions to get people to become interested in what Neurographic is. But the essence, what really Neurographic is about comes
Yes,
only when
yes.
you take the course and you delve inside. You kind of take that responsibility upon yourself when you take the course that you're interested in this, you want to do this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. So 2-minute breaks, guys, before we come back. This 2-minute breaks, even if you don't need a break, we'll take it. Do you know why? Because it will give you a chance to kind of breathing in and out after everything I said and get ready for the next part. Okay. take a break, drink some tea, use the restroom, and the rest of your stuff.